Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Business as a Magical Practice. It's Sam, as always, and I have a special guest. She's actually been on the podcast before in a different capacity, but this time we get her as expert capacity, and that is Jamie Ridler. If you do not know her, Jamie is a creative coach and the founder of Jamie Ridler Studios, an online hub bringing creativity to life. Reaching thousands of blog readers, podcast listeners, and YouTube viewers each day, Jamie is a creative luminary who helps everyone to connect deeply to their creative core. As an engaging speaker, writer, and coach, she has delivered talks and developed courses on topics such as journaling, finding your unique voice, dealing with the inner critic, embracing yourself as an artist, even if you don't have a creative bone in your body, and presenting powerfully. Named by the Huffington Post as one of the top 5 women podcasters you must listen to, and entrepreneur.com as one of the top 25 podcasts for entrepreneurs, Jamie inspires a passionate, creative community, helping them find the courage and confidence to follow their dreams. Welcome back, Jamie.
Thanks so much, Sam. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
And I'm so excited for this topic. We're talking about business as a devotional practice. And I mean, the name of the podcast is Business as a Magical Practice, but one of Jamie's core programs is called Devotion. And we've had some background conversations of business as devotion. I was like, oh, this is going to be such a good podcast episode. So, I mean, let's just start off with how do you define devotion?
Yeah, I define it as an ongoing, deep, and meaningful commitment to something that is significant to you. And, my program, it's designed around art, but I loved thinking about this for business because I think now I've been doing what I do for almost 20 years now. It's hard to believe now. So I'm like, okay, Jamie, that's devotion. And a part of it is showing up no matter what, and so to me, it's that sense of mission, that sense of commitment, that sense of riding the ups and the downs and staying present to what you're here to do, what you're here to share. And I'll tell you, Sam, it was a revelation to me that could be through business. I was not that person. I was an artsy girl. I went to a university where the business program was the most well-known program, and we called them the biz knobs. Like, we did not share space. And so for me to recognize business could be a magical practice, business could be a devotional practice, that changed everything in terms of how I showed up for it and what I believed in.
I bet. Yeah, no, I like to think of, and you're an ABI, so you've gotten our little gift box at the beginning of it, where some of the cards that we send out is marketing as a work of art, business as a masterpiece. So we're totally on the same page with that. But I'm someone who I don't think I have a conscious relationship with devotion. So it's interesting to hear because when I think of devotion, I think of I don't know, priestesses as an altar, at an altar.
Right. Sure. Yeah. I mean, it definitely has that sort of spiritual feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So but at the same time, consistency is an incredibly important thing for me, and I know a lot of people have they hear consistency and they hate it. They hate the idea of it. There's plenty of you don't have to be consistent to have a good business thing. And I always for me personally, I always come back to my consistency has been what is the word I can even describe. It's been the thing that's carried me forward where
Yes.
I'm always going to be there.
where a lot of people, they come and they shine bright, and past versions of my business are like different businesses I've tried to start. There hasn't been the consistency where like a few months of like, I'm going to market this thing and put together a website and do all the things, and then it's gone. Where like this business has been something that years later, there's this body of work that's been there. So I'm kind of how you're describing devotion. It kind of reminds me of consistency.
Yeah, I get that. And one of the things that can keep you going is that connection to your mission, like for you, because I think it begins with you. It's your commitment to the thing, right? And so your commitment to bringing something to life. One of the things we talk about in devotion is creating a body of work, and creating a body of work, like you described, is it's necessary to be in it for a longer period of time. We can create one thing, like lots of people do that. Since I started, I can't tell you how many people I know that started out with a blog or a business that aren't here anymore.
Yes.
And that's fine. They're off doing something else. But what kept me going was that sense of, commitment, consistency, ritual, practice. They're all related to one another. Sam, I can't help but want to ask you, what was different this time? Like what was different in this iteration of your offerings?
I always try and like think of like these larger like things that apply to everything, but I don't know if this stuff totally doesn't apply to everything. In this one case, I think it was something that was a consistent orbit of, we're going a little deeper, we're like being a little more, and it's over, I don't know, it's been over 10 years now of doing this style of work, and it's slowly building and building and building. And for my nervous system, there was so much safety in that. And by the time that I actually needed to build, because I grew my business from referral, like I got to a great level of success through referral, word of mouth. I didn't need any visibility. I didn't need any of that. But the time that I was ready to like actually step into that, there was so much built up over time, slowly, layers being added, that it was a safe transition. So I think that was really important for me.
I really get that. And I see, like, one of the things I think is important about devotion is devotion creates a circle of trust, right? And so it creates a circle of trust. First, the trust between you and the work. You're saying to the work, hey, I'm going to show up for you. I am going to show, I believe in you, and I'm going to show up for you. And then you start to trust the work because you start to see it, showing up, catching hold, and then building trust with the people you're here to serve, the people who the work is here to serve. So you've got this beautiful three-pronged circle of trust. And that consistency is a part of what creates that. I also love too that layered feeling, because one of the things I think people look, I'm a manifesting generator. I am a multi-passionate person. I am going to be like, boom, 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 boom. And so, how part of what this is too, is understanding that you're devoted to, the underlying mission, and that everything you do creates that new layer that you talked about. And it can, I can teach a different class, I can write a book, but they're all going to be in this world that I'm devoted to, which is helping people awaken their creativity. And so as long as, and that also allows you to stay alive and flexible and fluid, which you need to do in business, right? But also not so fluid that you get thrown off. So sometimes for me, this can be a challenge, because if in that beautiful circle of love and trust, if my community says, hey, I really want this, I'll start thinking I should do that. And then I might get really thrown off. But if I triangulate that, okay, this is what this person wants or these people want. Now let me check in with myself. Now let me check in with the work. And if the three of us feel like this is awesome, then I feel like I can trust that and move forward. So it's a really interesting balance between consistency, iteration, flexibility, but there's just always this core that you remain devoted to, even if what on the outside looks like it changed. You're always, like for me, I'm always helping people awaken their creativity. I'm always helping people build the confidence in that.
I love that. Have you ever seen the show Alone?
No, I haven't seen it.
So it's technically reality TV. I don't know. They pretty much put 10 people out into the wilderness. There's 10 seasons now. And not only do you have to actually work with the elements. So it's a lot of people who have these primal skills of like building shelters and hunting and all the things, but it's also you're alone. And so they're put off in the newest season that just came out on Netflix this week. I love the show, so I'm really excited about it. They're in somewhere in Canada where there's a lot of grizzlies, and it's like on a lake, a glacier fed lake. So it's going to get cold. Anyways, they're put in these different areas that they don't have any human contact for weeks, then months, then however long, and you can tap out at any time, and whoever's left over gets $500,000. Like, yay.
Okay.
And it's really, as a watcher of the show, and apparently many watchers, like, we're all judgmental, right? We're like, oh, I can't believe you tapped out because of that, and oh, that was a stupid move. And I recognize, like, I could not do this at all. But I always think of my husband, who, like, if you see my husband, he's a rugged dude. He's lived off grid for decades. He is outside for 20 hours a day often.
He could do it. He could rock the show.
Except that most of the time the show is in like a tundra environment, and he's always been in a tropical environment, which is just different. But it's interesting because I'm always like, Eddie, like you blah, 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 Eddie on the show. And it's interesting to see these people, because some in this season they're in like they're in grizzly country, which hasn't been, that's like, this is the most treacherous environment yet. That's like in the intro, right? I'm like, oh, I'm assuming all the guys who grew up in places with bears, they're going to do different, because it's not like you're just reading from a book. You have the years and years and years of that layered experience of, like, how is a bear in this little context? Oh, and it just was really having me thinking around how those slowly over time, those little experiences. Yeah. And I was thinking about my husband of like, you know how to deal with this one pest. You've seen it in hundreds and hundreds different ways of the different seasons on different plants. And it's not something you could ever read about. It's this intimate knowledge over and over time. And I was thinking about this of like, this is what examples of devotion of people who are like committed their lives to like working in nature. But we also have that with business, right? We also have that with just experiencing all the different flavors of being visible, or all the different flavors of working with different clients. And like very slowly over time, we get new and new and new experiences that suddenly create this tapestry, right? Of like all this nuance and all of these things that we can slowly weave together. And I don't know where I was going with that, but it just popped into my head.
Well, it does mean that one of the things that's available to you and available to you in engaging is that wealth of experience. You have a toolkit to draw. It's so funny. It's making me think. I just wrote in my newsletter this weekend to people about how you're never a beginner and you're always a beginner. And then you're never a beginner is like this, you know, at certain point in your life, you are drawing on all sorts of life experiences. I know, like, if I think now, if I have, you know, I'm a highly sensitive person, and I can be, so being in business can sometimes be challenging, you know, and if I have a bad day or something happens and it's stressful, there's some crisis to deal with. But I think now I just take that in stride. I'm like, okay, it's a crisis. So like, let's go. Now I have to solve it. I've got skills, but the most important skill I have is the emotional skill to ride that. And also to believe I can stick it out. At the beginning, I felt like every crisis in my business was a test. Like, this is how I knew I was an entrepreneur for sure, was the first day that I had a crisis at work and in my business. And I didn't think I should get a day job. Instead, I thought, okay, so what am I going to create? What am I going to do? And that was the switching point for me. It was being in the business and recognizing I was just going to make it work. I was in it.
Well, I'm wondering, like, what is this? Because it's not only a devotion to the business, there also has to be an element of devotion to self. Because what that made me think of is I came into this work through doing launch management, where there's like groups of like a 10-person team, things are going wrong, hundreds of thousands of audience members, you send the wrong link and suddenly there's thousands of people emailing it. It's a huge crisis, all the things. And you do that over and over again, and you realize that it doesn't matter. Like all the little glitchy things, they don't matter. Like even and there becomes this like devotion to self. Is it, of course, at the same time we're having devotion to the business, but like, am I going to let this impact myself? Am I going to let this impact my health? Am I going to allow this to stress me out and throw me off balance? Because I'm also a highly sensitive person. So like me, like staying at equilibrium, like I do lots of things in order to do that. Right.
Like, I'm not going to lie that I don't get exhausted and thrown off kilter. And like, I am learning the practices for that. But I agree with you 1,000%. And one of the places that it really shows up for me and that I'm very committed to is because I have a background in theater. And so whenever I'm doing something that's performative, like if I'm going to teach a class, like the week before devotion, I've booked that week off as a rest week. Why? Because I want to show up and be so present with those people. Like I want to be there 1,000% in good. So I don't want to move from crazy busy launch. Okay, everybody's in the door. Did you get your thing? And is everything okay? Okay, guys, let's go. No, I don't want to do that. And so, and same with, I have a big event I do every year called Planning Day. And same thing, I book the entire week before so that I can be, and I tell everyone who's coming to it, hey, the night before, come to bed early, get yourself your nice cup of tea, dress nicely if you want to, or just comfy if you want to. Like these are all signals we give ourselves to be available to the power of the work. Whether it's just changing the energy in ourselves, changing our energy for the collective, like, everybody contributes to that collective, even across time, across space, we do that, so somebody who's listening to this 3 months down from now is contributing to this conversation by how they're listening. So I think, and also when you run your own business, one of my favorite quotes is from Prospero from The Tempest, we are such stuff as dreams are made on. It's like everything we make comes out of this, comes out of this heart, this soul, this spirit, this body. And so if I'm wrapped up in knots all the time, I'm not available, right? I'm not, the work is trying to squish itself through my tightness, whereas if I am relaxed and open, it's just like, okay, I'm listening. Let's flow with this. Let me hear you.
Oh, I love that visual of like trying to squish something through the tightness. I love that so much. I'm trying to like think of other ways that comes through, but I want to hear, I would love you to clarify what you mean by the power of the work. Well, you're saying show up for the power of the work. What do you mean by the power of the work?
Well, I do think that for me, when I'm teaching, I feel like I'm channeling something. Like I feel rooted in my experience, my wisdom, my learning, my 20 years of working with all kinds of creatives across all kinds of discipline. Like I'm bringing that. And then I do think there's something out there that wants to connect, like wants to be created. It's just waiting for the right person or the right time. And so, and it's again, in relationship with the people I'm connected to. So I'm trying to create that electrical current between the three of us, the spirit of the work. And sometimes, I have to negotiate with that work, as you know, Sam, because like the work can come through. Like sometimes I can have an idea, I can have a vision, and I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. We should do it. It's going to take me 7 years to get there. And so one of the things I've learned, because I'll just speak it like it's happening. And then people are like, when's that thing happening? I'm like, oh, like in 7 years. I think I'll get to it. I'm going to start, but I can see, I can see it. I can see what's coming next. I can feel, and in terms of the power of the work too, one of the things that you're looking for, I think you're looking for it in art, and I think you're looking for it in business, is resonance. So first you want to have resonance. You want to notice, like, how's this feeling with me? Like when I came up with the idea of devotion, I was like, oh, I kind of love this idea. I kind of love this idea for a program, like 3 months immersed in your art. I can see it. And then I just started to talk to people about it very lightly, just very lightly. And when I could see like the ears perk up or the chest open or the lean in, I was like, oh, that's how I start to recognize it. I look for that kind of immediate engagement, like people's energy is just connecting to it, mine and theirs. And that's when I know there's something worth pursuing. And then when I really know I can hang my hat on it is when I have so many ideas. I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, we could do that. Then I know I've struck something that has enough power and energy to support decades of work.
Yeah.
And there are some things that are great that don't have that. They're like, oh, this is amazing. We should do that and have a party in December. It'd be fantastic. And then it's done. But when you've hit something really big, you're like, oh my gosh, I have no end of ideas of what I could develop here. And when I start to share it with other people, I can see it on them. I can see the way they light up. I can see the way they get curious. I can see it. Now, that's when, let me just clarify, that's when you're talking to your right people. Because I could say this, I could be at a party with like, my brother-in-law and their friends, and I could say, and they could look at me like, you're bananas, Jamie. Like, I don't know who you are and what you're talking about. And that also is a good sign, actually. If a very regular person thinks what I'm doing is really weird and off kilter, then that's another sign that I'm probably on a good path.
I'm wondering how you see devotion related to audience building, because you've done such a beautiful job as building an audience. I mean, one of top 5 women podcasters, top blogger, blah, blah, blah. You've done such an amazing job at building a devoted audience. So how do you think you being connected to devotion creates devotion in an audience or attracts people in?
I love that question. I think part of it is I'm in it too, and so I am honest, I am real, I am vulnerable when I share my own creative journey, or when I know we're all on the journey. I am maybe ahead of some people, I'm behind of some people. I have experience that is valuable and I'm willing to share. And we are always on the cutting edge of what's next for us. And so I want for me and my community, like I want us to feel like we're there together, so that we all know, again, if you're going to be in it for the long haul, I want to be growing till I'm 95. Like I want to be on that next luminous edge for me, the next growth thing forever. And so being in a community where we're all doing that and being open about what that's like, I think that's really key to it. And I do think it's building the trust. I do think it's that I have been consistent, Sam, too. Like I show up on YouTube. I show up on my podcast. I took a break from both of those for a while, and now I'm back to the podcast in particular, and I'm going to be coming back to YouTube. But when I say I'm going to be there, I'm there. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of it too. I think the other part is when you've been listening is listening. So when you've been listening to people for so long, and when you listen to people in the moment, so both of those elements. So over time, listening to a lot of people, but also in this present moment, listening to people, and you speak to that, then people respond because they're like, oh my God, Jamie gets it. I relate to that. I know what it's like to be, when during the pandemic, when a lot of people were baking bread and doing all these creative things. And a lot of people in my community, especially people who are highly sensitive people, were like, are you kidding? I can't even think about that. So is there something wrong with me? And, my answer to that is there's never anything wrong with you, right? Like it's just not something I believe to be true. We all have given circumstances that we work with, and learning to work with who you are and what works well for you. That's the journey of a lifetime. So let's do it. But how you are is awesome. And like for me, my greatest joy is seeing, in business too, right? Oh, I love seeing all the amazing ideas that people bring to life, or the different business models people try. And you're like, whoa, I never would have thought of that. Isn't that amazing? And then we can all cross-pollinate that. And that's powerful too. So honesty, authenticity, that's such a buzzword, but I really mean like being present and listening, being present, honest, and listening. I would, and consistent. Okay, I'll try not to add more things. Like present, honest, listening, and consistent. I think those are the keys to me creating a devoted audience. And I do have people, I have been with people who will remind me of things I did 10 years ago, like, oh, that was when you and Justin went to Paris, remember? I'm like, oh, that's when you got the cats. I was one of their aunties. Like they have and I leave room for them. Maybe that's a part that just made me emotional. Like I'm taking up this space, or I'm creating this space, but I want there to be room for them. I'm always asking questions. I'm always curious. I won't always want to hear their stories or their gifts. I will always say, if we're in a class, okay, everybody, you do this too, Sam. It's like, here's my wisdom, here's my lived experience. But hey, everybody, what have you lived? And that's the way we can crowdsource some of that rich tapestry that you were talking about. Like one way we can do it is have a really rich life and lots of experience. And the other things we can do is have a rich community where we can reach out and say, well, how did you do that? And what worked for you? Or like, maybe you're bolder and I'm shyer. And so I'd love to hear something that's a different approach, or maybe that's going to help that bold person over there. I have a strong belief, maybe it's because I'm the eldest, but I have a strong belief in reaching back and handing back what you've learned. Like, I don't want it to just be for me. Oh, that'd just be awful. Like, I want to pass on everything I can pass on. And I hope that everybody that my work touches continues to pass it on to other people too.
I love that. I just want to, like, you were talking about letting people in, and I just wanted to add another layer that you do unconsciously, clearly, is like, or you make room for them. And the other aspect of it is like, yes, you made room for them, and then you actually have to let them in, right? Which is, I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people.
Yes, I do think, look, I think a lot of people too. And so maybe I've experienced the tougher side of in the other direction. Like a lot of people are getting off of social media. A lot of people have automated responses to other people. Now that is all, I'm not against it, but in the service of what? Yeah. Right? Are you still is that in the service of connecting? Is that in the or is it in the service of removing yourself? Like at some point, it is unreasonable to remove ourselves and yet want to scoop up benefit from a community we're not contributing to. That to me is not okay. And so how can I remain a contributor and take good care of myself? How can I have automated emails, but in service of making sure that, look, it's going to take you 3 days if you want to hear from me personally, but if I send you something right away, your problem's going to be solved immediately. And that is good. That's a very different motivation than, look, I am tired of talking to people. I don't like doing that. And for me, this is again, one of the revelations of business is it's relationships. It's really, really, Sam, my dad is an MBA guy. He just retired from teaching business ethics. So he is like a business guy. And I remember when I first started my business, I said to him, Dad, we were out for coffee, and I was like, Dad, like, I never realized this, like, that business can help people. And he was like, that's the whole idea, Jamie. I had been in that world of businesses, like, taking things from you. They're trying to like give you the least possible and get the most possible and all that. And so I think we're maybe this is also something that makes it devotion, is being honorable, like wanting to contribute. And that's a really prime motivating feature for me.
Yeah. Well, I think something because I love what you brought up of people doing like automated whatever to take themselves out of the business. It's the other side of this is we're powerful magicians, and a part of being a magician is creating meaning. And right? And finding meaning in what a lot of people see as mundane and inanimate. And that actually gives us so much power and control, because we can say, I want to automate this thing so I get my time back. Or you can say, I want to automate this funnel so that people can get access to my program 24/7 when they need it, not just when I have the capacity to launch. So they can get it, they need it, you know, and it's that's just like that switch in meaning that is so powerful, and that we get to do as people who are living in integrity and want to be of service and want to change the world through our work, you know?
I love that. And even, you know, when you think about that, business is a magical practice. Like Sam, when you say it, there's a way I absolutely trust in the truth of what you're saying. And I think, yeah, this is taking all our magic and our program, our wisdom, whatever, and then putting it into form, which is a part of what magic is a part of what art is. That's to me the melding of creativity and magic, is you putting it into a form. And now, now that can it doesn't just have to be me going here. It's like, now I've got something I can give you, and it can keep giving, and it can be my legacy in the world, is this work. And it's, I hear what you're saying. I think that's powerful and important. And it's a good reminder for me too. And then the step, so obviously you can see the challenge for me is then me going, and now I will let go. And now I will let go. But I think that's absolutely true. And then when I let go, I can become an empty vessel again. And now I can open to that magic, and I can create the next thing that's supposed to come through me into this world.
Yeah. But it is really important, exactly what you said, because there are so many people who are automating a business so they can get out of it, so they can distance themselves,
the intention's entirely different. Yeah, it's so true. The intention is completely different. Let me create this package of magic for you that you have eternal access to, versus like, let me drop something, make some money, and get out of here. Like, it's just not the same at all.
Well, what this is reminding me of is I had some friends share, like, kind of having this like breakthrough moment together of like, oh, like I made this side comment to you of just like acknowledging like something amazing that you did. And the other person was like, that's going to be a core memory for me, you like saying this one thing. And for the other person, it was just like a passing comment. And it was like, this is something I'm going to remember forever for the other person. And we do this all the time, right? Our little side comments that we're like, we've already forgot about the thing you said 10 years ago that someone's reminding you about, right? But like, this is like, our business can do that exact same thing. The things that are automated in our business, maybe we're not hands-on it, but it doesn't mean it's not insanely impacting someone right when they need it.
Yeah. In fact, it sort of exponentially grows the impact that you're able to offer, because you as one person alone in the world, you have a finite amount of energy and time. You do. That is also reality. And so I love how this ties into the piece of taking excellent care of yourself, and then excellent care of yourself, excellent care of your work, and excellent care of the person you're sharing it with. All of that becomes a part of your decision-making matrix as you are running your business in that spirit of devotion. How do I exquisitely care for these three beings that are so essential to this magic?
Do you see the spirit of the work being different than the spirit of your business?
That's a great question. I do a little bit, because I've created such different things that I can see like the spirit of the business is holding the space with me. And then the spirit of the work might be like the devotion program. And that may be the work for now. And then, at some point I might be creating something else. Like I'll have my book and it'll have its own spirit. And so there feels like this big container. I almost feel like the big container is like me and the spirit of my business sort of holding hands, and letting all these different things come through. For me, that's why the studio has been such a powerful image. And my logo is like a circle within a circle, because that's how I think of it. We're creating a circle, something like an artist steps into that circle, and I would create something, and then Sam would come in, you would create something entirely different. And like my sister would come in, she'd create something entirely different. And then each of us would leave that circle, and it would still be this empty, beautiful space just waiting for the next person.
Sorry, this is going to jump topics a little bit. Just, I know you have pillars in your devotion program. What are those pillars?
Oh, I have many. Oh, are you meaning practice projects and performance? Or you mean, yeah, practice projects and performance. Those are pillars of my whole studio. To me, everything is built
Well,
on
I'm like,
that.
I want to hear how this applies to business. Like, tell us about those
Okay.
three
Yeah.
pillars.
Well, it's so funny. Practice is that consistency, right? It's like, what do we show up with on a regular basis that we have to maintain that keeps us grounded, keeps us connected? So that might be our finances. That might be teaching. Like if I teach on a certain day all the time, that's a practice. It's also taking care of myself. It's making sure that I have personal practices that allow me to show up to the work really well. Then projects are the things like I just described. It might be creating a launch is a project. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Creating your course is a project. Projects turn into practices once they become habitual. But when something's new, anytime something's new, that is a project. And then performance is about how you share it, how you live it, how you are present, how you are connecting with the other person. So when I'm writing, like when I was writing the devotion program, it was a project, it was just me and devotion. When I'm teaching it, that's performance, because I'm trying to let that work come through me and touch another person in a meaningful way. And I know sometimes performance is the most sticky for people because it's connected to visibility, which people are uncomfortable with. And it also has that sense of unrealness. I am performing for you. This is performative. It is not real. That's not what I mean by it all. Performance for me is creating true and meaningful connection where I can transmit something from me to you. And so,
okay, so I have an example where I'm curious where you would, what bucket you'd put it in. So I have a client who's been trying to get rid of one-on-one clients, and through launching a group program, and there's like this in-between spot where she's like in the middle of a launch, she hasn't started the group, doesn't have one-on-one clients anymore. And she finally brought in some one-on-one clients and was like, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, I find, like, she was in a funk, and like she finally started doing the work with the people, like the work that she likes to do, which was also the work she was trying to get off of her plate because she was exhausted and whatever. And I'm like, is that practice or is that performance in like her actually needing to reconnect with the work that she's meant to do in the world?
It's interesting because this is a wonderful example, because I think what happened was, so she was in project mode when she started working with one-on-one, and then it became practice. And for whatever reason, it tired her out. It was no longer, it wore her down because she was doing it every day in a way that wasn't nourishing her for some reason. When she ditched it, it became a project again. Now it was new and exciting. So I bet I would ask her to really look at that, because, and how she can structure her coaching so it feels like a project. Because my guess is she's somebody who does not like things with no end, right? Like that, where she's in maintenance mode. She prefers like that excitement of like, okay, now we're going, this feels good, I've got my money, it's great. And eventually it'll start to like topple down again. So she might want to choose to structure this like a project, which also, and then when she delivers it, it's performance. That's the other thing about performance. Performance can be exhausting. If she likes to perform, if that's like she loves to teach, or, that can also become exhausting if it's ongoing all the time without any end or any break. And so she may need to, you always, with performance, you need to go, stop, retreat, refill, and so those would be great things for her to think about. What practices does she need to support herself? If project is a more engaging structure for her, how can she organize it that way? And if she loves performance, especially, how can she manage her energy in that beginning, middle, complete, end of show, I'm taking a break way to maintain her energy? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. It's just interesting how different things can hot buckets.
Yes, they really can. Yeah, they really can. And knowing they all build on each other. I think everybody having practice is essential. I mean, you teach this, Sam, like if we didn't have ongoing structures, ongoing practices in our business to support it, it never really takes hold. So you need to know, like, these are my repeatable things. This is how I do things. And then projects is like something exciting, and you build it and you share it. And in business, we'll always move to performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but in life, some people just love practice. And then on occasion they do projects and they avoid performance at all costs.
Yeah.
I think that is something. And sometimes people who get into business, they don't realize performance will be a part of it. And that can be a challenge too, right? I just want to make the thing. I just want to do the thing. I don't want to be the person who's sharing the thing or talking about the thing. I just want to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in phases like that for sure.
Yeah.
You have to, I know this is a total, I'm going to say like always, when this is like, there's never an always, but like, I almost feel like for people like that, because they've been in that scenario, they just don't realize how much, if they get over themselves and create a safe space to perform, that it is an incredibly nourishing thing.
Oh, it really is, because part of it is we make up in performance, like we're supposed to put on a show, or we're supposed to be something different than who we are. But when we understand that it's exactly the opposite, like, when I come to be on this podcast with you, I'm just here to connect with you and to talk about things I know, things I believe in, my point of view. And when I trust that that's enough, then performance becomes actually very easy, very engaging, very nourishing. But when I feel like I have to prove or assess or be different, then it's again going back to that kind of tying you up in knots. And it just feels, and you can see people when they're doing that, when they're up there and they're sharing what they think they're supposed to do, and they're tight and they're holding their cards or reading so rigorously and just scared that someone's going to ask them a question, and it's so uncomfortable for everyone. But when you can relax and recognize, hey, all you really have to do is be you, and that really is great. Because that, one of the things I learned in theater is the truth is always interesting. And that has borne out in everything I can ever think of. I think about when my clients are telling me the truth of their hearts, when I'm in a show and someone's sharing something that's so sincere, it touches you. And when we believe that that means me too, that's not just true for everybody else, it's true for me too, then that can take a lot of the pressure off.
Why do you think that performance fits into devotion as a concept, not your program?
Yeah, as a concept, I think it is interesting. I think it is in part the willingness to be brave and the willingness to share. I think devotion is taking a public stand. I do. Like, we don't, I guess in many ways we don't have to, our devotion can be private, but devotion in business is not private. Devotion in business is you saying something in the world about who you are, what you believe in, and what you're creating. And so sharing that in a way that connects with people. And again, it's the same circle, right? It's like, who am I honestly? What is this work honestly? And how can I connect in a sincere way to the person who is listening, or the person for whom this might be just right, the person who's waiting for whatever it is I'm here to offer. And it's, again, that circle of trust. And in being able to do that in a sincere way, a committed way, a way that is true to the beliefs and values of your business, that's devotion.
Well, it's making me kind of, if I'm going back to my vision of the priestesses in the temple, it's like you do your work and you are acting in a daily way in devotion to like whatever that thing is. But then there's also the element, like as the priestess, of taking the work to the public, right?
Yes.
It's of like performing the rituals or doing the ceremony for the public, which would be like that performance bit, right?
Yes. And you know what's so important about that? One of the things I learned many years ago from a business teacher who I adore, Mark Silver, bless him, I love him so deeply. And one of the things he taught me was you have to create safety, including when you're selling. And so if you are nervous to perform, and that includes sharing your offer, explaining how it works, giving your price, all of those things, anything that you're giving to somebody else, if you are nervous and scared and unsure, you are not creating safety for somebody else who, in the case of the kinds of things we do, like we're coaching somebody or offering some kind of support, they're already in a vulnerable position. So I'm conscious of that. It's like, okay, for like, sure, I'm in a vulnerable position too. I'm offering something. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll buy it. Maybe they won't. But what I want to do is create a sense of safety. And so if I can show up confidently in my performance mode, so it's real, it's honest, it's confident, it's grounded, and then I can create a safety for the person to make their right decision. You know, so that sense of being good at performance really helps create safety too.
Yeah, I love that. That's really great. It's like a frequency you're emitting.
Yeah, it really is. And so practice supports that, right? Like, so all of that is supports you being able to do that. And it takes time. It takes, you know, it takes some effort having your energy right, you know, and self-trust is a huge part of it. You know, years ago, so here's one of my least successful but beautiful stories. Years ago, I was going to offer a retreat, and the retreat had all the right things. It was in Sedona, and it was with equine therapy and art making. Like, it just was so beautiful, and nobody signed up for it. Now, nobody signed up for it. Now, I will say that energetically, that turned out to be exactly perfect, because at the time that we would have been there, my mom got sick. And so it was actually energetically absolutely perfect that I was at home during that time. But one of the things I learned from equine therapy was that horse is not going to, if you are nervous and pretending and putting on a show and trying to act, they will see right through that. They will see right through that. And so when I understood, oh, that horse needs me to be calm and take the lead, you know, that like, I know where we're going. And so it's very different than manipulating or trying to force the horse to go somewhere. It's not that. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm the one who's holding the reins, and I'm going to decide where we're going to go. And I'm comfortable with that. So it's often the case too. It's like somebody comes to you, they don't know what you do. They know what they need, but they don't understand. So you're like, okay, let me show you. I do know. I know how it works. I know what it costs. I know how it's structured. So let me just share that with you. You know,
equine therapy for salespeople.
Oh my gosh, right? It'd be amazing.
Probably exists. It probably exists.
It's just so beautiful. We communicate with energy. We just do. And so being able to really find that space, even if when you stop, it's a coaching thing too, right? So when you forget about yourself a little bit and you put yourself over with the other person, then you can just relax a little bit. Like, it's not about me performing. It's about the other person being able to receive, if it's meant for them, what I am here to give. You know, it's not about whether I get it right or.
I'm thinking back to your channel, because there's kind of two things happening with that channel of us intentionally channeling an energy of, like, I'm imagining when I like go up to a new cat that I really want to convince to come and sniff me, I'm like, I love you, like, come to me. And I'm like really channeling a specific energy, but it's forced in some way, right? Like, it's the conscious thing versus relaxing into and being an open channel for something. And both need a skill set to develop, and also the relaxation piece is really a key, right?
Yeah. I think that's so interesting. When if I take that in, I'm just thinking about it in terms of art, it's the same too, right? Like, sometimes I have an intention, I want something. And so how do I or more appropriately, I guess, business. But I was just thinking about like, I might go in there saying, I want to create a picture of this, or I want to create a new program, or I want to write a book. So I'm starting with some idea. And other times I'll be like, I'm just going to play with paint and then I'm going to see what happens. And
Yeah.
both are really rich and really valuable. And I do think, different people are going to lean one way or the other. So I do think some people are going to lean into, I'm just going to listen until I hear something. And then some people are going to go like, here's an idea I have. I'm just going to put it on the table and see, I'm going to see if the universe or the spirit of my business picks this one up. And I do think we need to be able to negotiate. Like, I know sometimes I'll say to the spirit of my business, I'll be like, this looks awesome. How can I do this with ease? This looks awesome. How can I get people to help me with this? Like, help me figure out that piece too.
Oh, what this is making me think of, and I don't know where this fits into the channeling part of it, is I was having a ton of resistance. I was sick at the time and I had to write a bunch of posts for a launch. And I was like, oh my, having so much resistance around it because I'm sick, or like I'm just getting over getting sick, but I like want to write these things or else it's going to stress me out later. And I just decided, like, I am someone who identifies as a writer. So I was just like, I enjoy writing. Like, I'm just going to like write some things down and it's going to be easy. And I was able to write like 5 posts in a couple hours. And it was like, ended up like 15 minutes a post, like really fast, just came out. And it was like, and I'm kind of thinking back to the energy behind it. And it's like this weird melding between a conscious channel of like, I'm trying to push something out or put something out, but also like being open to it. And
I love that. It is a balance, right? It's like having, one of the things I often say in the studio is like, you're having a container that's strong enough to have some form, but that's open enough to allow for fluidity and flow. And I think that's incredibly important. And also too, Sam, like one of the things you said really struck with me. I've done that so many times where I've come to my work and I've been in a mood about it, or I've like been frustrated, and I've needed to remind myself. I like to call it original joy. Like I look, what was my original joy when I started doing this? And I think sometimes we kind of get this societal idea of what work is supposed to look like, air quotes, or what business is supposed to look like, or productivity, or whatever you want to call it. And so we get all hooked up in it's supposed to feel like this and then if you're like, okay, no. Like, let's go back to that feeling of, I'm a writer and I love writing. So this should be easy. This is actually me getting to do this, not me having to do this, me getting to do that. Let me remind myself. But I think it's also the collective pull. That's one where we get pulled into that collective belief too. So another reason why devotion is incredibly important is having that sense of, this is my way, this is this work's way, and it's strong and it's rooted and it's grounded. And yes, it will move with the times or my people, they'll be flexible, but it will not be pulled into the way things are. Like, it will not, this is not why I got into business. I did not get into business so I remember at one point working in the early days, sort of recreating what I knew about work and how I structured my business, and being so miserable. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, I might as well go work and have benefits, right? Like, this is silly. And so I was like, okay, shake it off. Remember, like, we're creating this our way. What is that? So it took me a little while. It took me some of that devoted time to figure out, what is my way? What is the studio way to do things and to show up and to, create what we want to create in this world.
There's something so beautiful about that point you get to of like, it's stressing you out or it's making you so unhappy that there's a part of you that just wants to quit it and get rid of it. And because there is this opening of death, this ultimate, like this potential of killing it, that all, like, you can get rid of all pretenses and just like, well, if I'm going to kill it anyways, I might as well just try and do it exactly how I want it. I might I might just ask for exactly what I want, because like the alternative. And I feel like you can kind of see this in relationships too, of like, well, I'm not getting what I want in this relationship, so I'm gonna just like end this relationship. But like, what if I just asked for what I wanted?
Oh yeah.
I'm like gonna break up with them anyways, right?
So let's see what happens. There's nothing to lose here. Yeah. Oh
Nothing to
yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's so powerful when you're in that place where you're willing to take those risks, you know? Yeah. And
Like
to
the
also
risk.
sometimes say, I think about the two things too, and this is one of the hardest things is like, when does that pressure and discomfort mean it's time for me to change something? And when does that pressure and discomfort just mean like, man, I am birthing something big here and it is tough. And sometimes it is tough. And I do always feel like that's important to mention because so many people out there in the world like follow your bliss and I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be joyful. I want everyone to enjoy what they do. But sometimes we get the message that if it's hard, it means it's not for us. And
Yeah.
that does us such a disservice. You know, it's like because it's hard. Also, too, I just like to sometimes think of that it's just effort. It's just effort. And in that sense, too, it's like if I'm going to put effort into something or if something's going to be hard, it might as well be something I love deeply. It might as well be something I believe in. It might be as well be something worth going through this for. You know, so sometimes it is hard, you know, and that's again devotion, right? When you have decided, when you're still in every moment something is hard or unexpected, you're asking yourself again, is this for me? You're not devoted yet, right? Like you're still working toward, but when you're devoted, you're like, oh no, this is for me. Then that doesn't mean I have to do it this way, but it means then I can find it my way.
It's also amazing how much easier things get when you get rid of the resistance to it. Because like something can be like a big project that takes a lot of effort, but the second you have like get rid of any resistance to doing it and like get rid of all of the thoughts of like, but should I do it? Does this mean it's wrong? Does it like if like just like take those out of your brain and like recommit to like, I'm doing this thing. It's gonna take as long as it takes. I have the time for it, all the things. It gets so much easier. It's like half
Oh my
of
gosh.
the effort is gone because you're getting rid of the resistance in your head around it, right?
It's like you've had that emergency brake on and you don't even realize it's on and you're just like,
Yeah.
and then you take it off like, whoa, okay, hold on, let's go.
So oh, so good. Well, Jamie, I like to ask a couple fun ender questions for the
Okay.
episodes. One of them, I mean, what's your sun, moon, and rising? We all want to know.
Okay. So my sun is Sagittarius and my moon is Aquarius and my rising is Virgo.
Okay, cool.
And I think I'm just going to say, I think that's just really me. Like, I'm going to go, I'm going to want to do all the things. I want to have fun. I want to be engaged. I'm like, you know, but then I do come across, and I do think I'm also very organized and very clear. I'm very grounded. And, you know, Aquarius, that's my mom too, is like, yeah, I want to make my contribution to make the world a better place.
So good. And then what have been some of your favorite purchases for business and pleasure lately, or one of each?
Okay, I knew you asked this question, Sam, so I prepared. So these are my babies, my Bose cordless headset. I literally wear this like, I don't know if Justin remembers what I look like without wearing this headset, because I just like anything I have to do. If I'm gardening, if I'm putting away the dishes, if I'm cleaning the cat litter, I am listening to an ebook or a podcast or something. And so these are comfortable and they sound great. And they put me in my own little world. And I love them very, very deeply.
Oh, I love that. I actually got some Bose, I think like comfort something or another recently for the first time, because I like listening to audiobooks, and I was on trying to listen to them on airplanes, and I like had to turn up the volume super high and was definitely blasting out my eardrums, and someone recommended the Bose as the ones to
get.
I
hope you love them as much as I do. I love them.
Okay, what else?
Oh, pleasure. That's a little bit harder. I will say that one of my go-tos is these. I love this company, Wick Witch candles. Look at this. I have a Good Witch candle. Like,
Ew.
I just love this so much. I love the image. Every time I finish with these candles, I soak them in water so I can take the label off, and I put the label in my journal because I love it so much. And they have like, I have literally around me, I have the Good Witch one. They have a tarot series. I have one that's the star. I like this when I am calling in my people. So when I'm doing any writing for launches, I like this candle to be a beacon for the right women who are meant to come in my program. I have one for the summer solstice. I light it every time I teach a class. We start with a candle. And so I have that too. And so candles, I'll light relate things. Also, this summer, Justin went and got 1 million Twinkie lights that now are in our backyard. And we have in the back of our kitchen is a big glass window. And so when we come down in the kitchen, we can look outside and see the backyard just covered in light. And that is my joy. And so that is one of the things for my pleasure.
Oh, I love that. And you already have some twinkles behind you.
I always have this. This is like, they just make me happy. And it's so funny. I was thinking the other day, I call them Twinkie lights, and I call them Twinkie lights because when I was in theater, the first thing I ever did in theater was be an assistant stage manager. And the lighting designer, Paul, who is a very sort of crotchety guy, he said to me, okay, you're in charge of the Twinkie lights. And I was like, so I just thought that was like the real word for them. And now I realize that this crotchety older guy probably had no idea what other people would call them, because they was like those stupid Twinkie lights. But that's still that they will forever be Twinkie lights for me, thanks to Paul.
That's really cute. Well, thank you so much for being on, Jamie. Let people know where they can find you, how they can go deeper with you, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, the easiest thing to do is to come by openthedoor.ca, and that's where my site is. Sign up right now. If you sign up to join the studio, which is free, I have a wonderful 5-part mini workshop on creative practices. So you get 5 days of one's collage, one's journaling, and I won't tell you the other ones, so you can have a surprise. So come on by and join that. And we've got another season of devotion coming up this fall. I'm so excited. So when you get there too, get on the wait list. You'll find everything out about this beautiful 3-month immersion in your creative work. And it's really designed to help you build that unshakable relationship with your art. So if your devotion feels like it wants to hold you as an artist and help you create a body of work, this is a great program to do it. I'm always thrilled when we're about to start and to see what magical people come in. I'll light my candle for you.
Perfect. Do you have any final messages for people listening?
One thing I would say is, if you have not thought that you were a business person, if you're listening to this because Sam's approach is the first thing that made you think, actually, maybe this is for me. Maybe I'll tell you, I took a lot of other programs before I joined ABI, and I never felt like I was in the right place. But the minute I was in ABI, I was like, oh, magical people doing business. Oh, this is something different. So there is a way to do business that is true to you. There is a way to build it on your personality, your strengths, your desires, what would nourish you. The world needs your gifts. And so I hope that listening to Sam generally with the idea of it being a magical practice, and today with thinking of business as a devotion, just shifts your perspective and thinks, maybe this is for me. Maybe I can commit to it in a deeper way. Maybe I'm willing to be visible in order to share my message. I hope it shifted your idea about performance and made you see that it's about you shining and sharing your gifts in the world, not about you pretending or being fake or scared, but just showing up in the world as who you are with all the gifts you're here to share. That's what I hope for everyone.
Always such sweetness from Jamie.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week, and go check out Jamie. And if you are an artist, or you don't even know you're an artist, or like you wouldn't call yourself an artist, definitely go check out Jamie's world, because she is a genius in this space. Bye.
Thank you, Sam.